What's up, guys? My name is Colin Moriarty. I'm editor of IGN PlayStation. I'm here, of course, with Mitch Dyer. He's the associate editor of IGN Xbox.
Hi, Colin. We never start anything we talk about without a Nietzsche quote.
I know we gotta have some Nietzsche. You know, this quote is actually pretty interesting because let's
spoilers for
let's stop here. If you haven't if you haven't beaten Lords of Shadow, the original one, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to turn the video off. And that was a pretty quick 5 seconds. All right, so Nietzsche's quote here is explains pretty much in a sentence, right, what happens at the end of Lords of Shadow, right?
Right, yeah. It's very clear that it is setting up, hey, maybe the protagonist of this last game who was turned into a vampire in the end, in the DLC, I believe. He's become the monster he was fighting.
Indeed.
Dun.
So the main character, of course, of Lords of Shadow, if we keep kind of just going, is Gabriel Belmont. Of course, the Belmonts are a famous clan of vampire hunters in Castlevania lore, and Gabriel himself is part of the Brotherhood of Light. In the original game, he's kind of sent to see what's going on with his wife, and he runs into some guy named Zorik, and all this stuff happens at the end. He becomes Dracula himself, and transported to the modern age, as you see. So,
he's waking up after he talks about having a long slumber. He's been asleep for a long time, hasn't eaten for centuries. You and I originally thought that this was Alucard, just long white hair. The uniform we'll see later, but no, this we're pretty sure is Gabriel.
Yeah, it's Gabriel, I think. Now, so we know, Mitch, that Alucard is in the game, and we saw him in the last trailer, I think, very briefly. That was released around E3, maybe. Mm-hmm. But this is Gabriel waking up after hundreds of hours of slumber, because again, you'll remember that the events of Lords of Shadow end hundreds of years in the future from where most of the game took place, and it seems like now you're going back, as it were.
And it seems like it's retaining the mechanics of the DLC, which I'm pretty sure involved a lot of blood sucking, right? Like I think you had to eat dudes to sustain to just stay alive, and it looks like that's clearly part of this.
Indeed, and so I mean, as we see gameplay kind of smattered around. He's fighting a huge, Titan-looking creature here. It seems like the God of War-centric gameplay is also going to be back. This hack and slash, upgradable stuff,
which I'm okay with. I love these big-scale fights. The ice monster in Lords of Shadow is one of my favorite bosses ever.
Yeah, I think God of War is underrated in the gameplay department. I also think the original Lords of Shadow is underrated as a Castlevania game.
I agree.
A lot of people say that there's no allusions to Castlevania in it. That's simply not true. There's a lot of allusions even to Castlevania 2, one of my favorite Castlevania games in the original, and hopefully we have more of those. But what are we seeing now? I mean,
I don't know. What do you make of this guy? He looks very much like this, almost like a stereotypical good guy, right? Like golden armor, big wings. He's got his blades. He's like maybe he's some villain, some big tough guy coming to take down Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean, you say good guy, and then you say that he's someone you fight, and I wonder how the paradigm shifts in Lords of Shadow to where maybe you are the bad guy, it seems like, or are fighting for some sort of redemption. I mean, we don't really know how the paradigm has shifted between good and bad in these particular games, because at the end of Lords of Shadow, you're not how you began.
Yeah, this trailer talks a lot about vengeance and getting even and stuff like that, but do you know why he would be wanting to get even? I mean, he's a bad dude now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a few things. I mean, his wife is dead in the first one, so maybe he wants to get even for that. Maybe he wants to get something with Zobek. Satan, of course, himself is in the game, so he's kind of lost his humanity as he's become a vampire and is kind of stricken to live forever now. So maybe it has something to do with that.
This is Gabriel as he wakes up years and years in the future. We're gonna pull out of his church here. Oh, look at that. We're going to see more of that
soon. Now freeze it here real quick.
Yeah,
I love these vistas, as it were.
That's my favorite thing about Lords of Shadow. It's just these amazing opening scenes as you enter levels, and it just stays, like the sense of scale stays so consistently huge as you progress.
And it's beautiful, like just the Gothic architecture. And, Castlevania always had like a really special way, even on the NES box art, of kind of invoking this wonder in you of these huge castles that you're exploring, or even Symphony of the Night and games like that. Like they do a really nice job here of doing that. So I hope we see more of this dark Gothic architecture. I think we will. It's a Castlevania game.
Yeah. And this is where we're going to get our first look at... nope, just kidding. That's coming soon. This is still inside his castle, I guess, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, we assume we're not seeing anything too spoilerific, maybe something early in the game.
Yeah, it seems to be, especially as we see him like waking up and stuff like that, and kind of reclaiming his castle. But here we see, hey, look, that's cars and people and streetlights. This is the modern times. This is today. And his castle is still there, right? Like it's maybe like an ancient church that people look at as a historical artifact, and or it's revered. Maybe it's a tourist attraction in whatever city this is.
Yeah, we're not sure, what city it is. I mean, if you freeze it here again, I mean, people were surprised maybe when we saw this Lords of Shadow 2 trailer. This isn't surprising if you beat the original, because you know that this was really going to happen.
Yes.
But it is surprising for a lot of people who are uninitiated with Lords of Shadow to see a Castlevania game take place in the modern day, which is interesting. I'm not super crazy about it. Reminds me a little bit of like Onimusha 3, but
where does Jean Reno come in Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2?
So here, Gabriel's talking a little bit, going a little nuts. As you can see, he has his telltale vampire fangs, his red eyes there.
Looking rough. He's pale-skinned. He's talking about just murder. He's a bad dude now, and I like that shift for our main character.
Indeed. So, like, I wonder, as we kind of get away from this, as we kind of pan out of this trailer, who is going to stop Gabriel? And I'm most interested to see how Alucard kind of plays into all this.
Right. I'm hoping he's a playable character. I hope that it'd be really interesting to shift between Gabriel as the villain and Alucard as this hero.
Indeed, and I would, maybe a Castlevania 3 reference. Since we have Alucard, that was, of course, his first game, Castlevania 3. Maybe we have some more characters from that, too. I'd love to see Grant and Asti and Sypha and all these characters that we haven't seen much of in Castlevania history wrapped into Lords of Shadow, but we'll see what happens. We don't really have a release date for this game yet.
No. We know that it's still 2013. That's all.
Excellent. And obviously it's this generation, so we're gonna get it maybe in the first half of the year, hopefully. But is there anything else in the rest of this trailer?
I'm pretty sure that this is the end. We're gonna fade out to
this is
him on his throne.
This is a cool shot, actually. If you freeze it here, it kind of sitting like a tyrant. This is very reminiscent of Dracula in Symphony of the Night, I think, sitting in the beginning in his throne, slouched down, not really caring, hand on his head.
Yep.
This might be maybe a subtle call out of Symphony of the Night.
That.
Yeah. So, Mitch, I guess that's it. Stay tuned, of course, to IGN for all things Castlevania, Lords of Shadow 2, and other things video games. Mitch, thank you for joining me.
Anytime, sir.
Beyond.
Beyond.